Hey guys, how you doing? This is Tony Tone, the Chess Salsero. Guys, today we're going to go over some cool stuff. Today, guys, I want to talk about some opening traps. I created a playlist on my YouTube channel, on chess.salsero27. And if you go to that playlist, it's called Chess Tricks and Traps. And I'm doing my very first one here. And I want to discuss this really cool trap called the Tennison Gambit. It is the Tennison Gambit trap, and it's really cool. And basically, this trap is designed to try to capture your opponent's queen for free, 100% free without any compensation. So I'm going to go through this really quick, and then I'm going to break down the moves, and I want to show you how cool this really looks. Now, keep in mind, guys, when you do this, there are a million chess openings and traps and gambits and tricks, and this is just one of so many. And I'm going to explain it move by move. Remember that, guys, none of this will work if your opponent doesn't make the moves you expect them to make. But if they do, they're going to fall into this trap. And I'm going to be doing different videos with other traps and gambits and tricks, which are really cool. But I thought this is one of my favorite ones. And I actually have been caught in this trap years ago. Because you're just learning, and these guys who are really good and they're higher rated than you, they put you into these little traps. You're not even knowing that it's a trap or a trick, and then boom, you get caught, kind of like in a spider's web. So, White moves. His first move in this Tennison Gambit goes to F3. Now, this is a typical opening move. There are other moves, White usually plays either D4 or E4. E4 right here. Or sometimes White plays knight to C3. But in this one, you start out with knight to F3. So Black plays a typical opening move. He wants to occupy the center, and he puts his pawn on D5. Now watch this. This looks crazy. This looks ridiculous. Why would anybody ever play this? If you see some awkward move like this, guys, especially if you're playing Black against White, this is typically a trap. He wants you. He's trying to entice you to take that pawn on E4. He's literally giving it away to you. When somebody gives you something for free, always be suspicious of that. Why are they doing that? Pause and think. But we're going to go through this and see why exactly. So, typically, White goes like this and puts his pawn. Actually, let's do this. White typically goes right here, and he stops the pawn from moving forward to D4. And then, Black continues his development, and so on and so on. But in this position, White says, you know what? I'm going to push my king's pawn forward, which is very dangerous, and I'm just going to offer it to you for free. So Black looks at this, and if he doesn't understand what's going on, he's going to say, you know what, man, this looks really juicy. I'm going to take this pawn on E4 and grab it for free. On top of it, boom, he's going to attack the knight. So he's up at space advantage. He has a pawn in the White army's position, and he's forcing my knight to move out the way, right? So what is White to do here? White says, you know what? Okay, I'm going to reattack that pawn by moving my knight here to G5. So far, so good, right? Okay. So no one is protecting this pawn on E4. So Black decides, you know what? In this variation, he's going to take his Black knight and defend his Black pawn here on E4 with his knight on F6. So now I can't take this pawn because he'll take me. So far, so good? Okay, so now White responds by reattacking that pawn on E3. Oops, sorry. He attacks it with his pawn to D3. So now, if you look at this, Black's pawn on E4 is attacked twice, but it's only defended one time by the knight on F6. So Black has to respond here. What is he going to do? So he says, you know what? I'm not going to push it forward because then white could take me with the bishop, or it can, no, it can't take me with the knight, sorry. Or I could take him with my pawn here. So he decides to take the pawn that's attacking him right on d3. Right? So now what I'm going to do, I could either take it with the queen or with the bishop. I want to take it with the bishop. Why? Because I want to develop this bishop here, because I always talk about development of your pieces, which is absolutely crucial in the opening of a game as part of normal chess opening principles. And it gives me the opportunity to castle here. Right? So now after this whole little skirmish has happened, black says, you know what? I don't want this knight here. He's too dangerous. Let's get him back. So he pushes the knight out with the move with h6 with the pawn to get him out of the way. So white, can either go back here or come back where he came from on f3. But here's where the gambit starts to take form. He says, you know what? I'm not going back at all. I'm actually going to sacrifice my knight by taking the pawn, bam, on f6. Now, this knight is attacking and forking the queen and his rook. This is what a fork is. This is one of the beginner's tactics that I showed in one of my videos. This is a regular fork. So black has a big decision to make here. Does he take the knight with the king, or does he move the queen out of the way? Oops, sorry. Right? Or does he move this queen out of the way? And if he does that, he loses the rook. So I will be up the exchange. An exchange means that you're giving up a rook for a minor piece, whether it's white or black. Or he moves the rook, which is crazy, and he loses the queen. He's not going to do that. Or his other option is, you know what, let me just take the knight. It's there for the taking. It's free, right? But here's what sets up what's called a discovered attack, which is one of the major tactics, my favorite tactic in all of chess. It is part of my video on beginner's tactics. And this is where the bomb comes in. Since I forced the king to move off his home square out into this field of play, this bishop that was developed here to d3 now attacks and checks the king, all the while opening an attack, bam, on his queen, and he loses the queen. So even if he doesn't take him, he loses the queen. If he does take the bishop, he loses the queen. That's the Tennison Gambit. It's beautiful. I actually love this. There are a lot of forced moves in it. Not only that, look what it does to the king. The reason we castle, and I explain this in one of my other videos, is for the security of your king, for king safety. You need to get your king into a castle position as early as possible, with rare exceptions, so you can just go conduct operations in the field of play, right? I'm forcing his king out into the open field where it will be subject to attack by, all of my forces eventually coming in, and I get my rook out here. I mean, it's just going to be ugly. Right? While all his pieces are just sitting at home eating popcorn, watching a movie, Netflix and chill. Okay? So let's go through this entire thing again, guys. I'm going to summarize this really quick. Watch this. Let's play it out nice and slow. Knight to f3. Pawn to d5. I offer my e-pawn. He is so enticed by that. It's a trap. He says, it looks too juicy. I'm going to eat it. Bam, he takes it. I move my knight to g5 to reattack that pawn. He defends the pawn with his knight, and he develops a piece, which is actually good. And I attack the pawn twice. Boom, boom. He defends it once. So he says, you know what? I'm not going to give up the pawn. If I'm going to go out, I'm going to take you with me. Bam, he takes the pawn on d3. I develop my bishop, which sets up this beautiful discovered attack on his queen, unbeknownst to him. He says, you know what? I need this knight out of here. It's too dangerous. I said, you know what? Bam. I don't care about the danger. I'm going to take that pawn, forking his queen, his rook, and he decides to take me with his king. bang. He has all bad options. Whether he takes me now with the king, they're all bad options. This sets up the beautiful discovered attack on his queen. Bam, I check him with the bishop on g6, attacking the king on f7. He takes, bam, he loses his queen. From here on out, guys, you're just going to mop up. You're going to play. He's down an entire queen. You have a safer king. You're going to have better development. He has a hemmed-in bishop here, which is horrible. If this bishop wasn't here on f8, I wouldn't have taken his queen because he would have taken me back with his rook. So it's all bad, guys. It's all bad. If I go through it real quick, right through, boom, boom, boom. He takes, defends, I reattack. He takes, I take. He kicks me out, sacrifice the knight. He takes, boom, discovered attack. He loses the queen. Beautiful. This is called the Tennison Gambit, guys. You want to practice this a lot, as much as possible, and hopefully you can trap your opponent into this. I want to mention this really quick. If I go back here, it has to be this exact sequence and order of moves. If it's not, this is not the Tennison Gambit. Now, let's say he decided to protect it with his pawn, right? Or even bring the queen out here to protect. Then it would be subject to attack with my knight. Okay, this is just one variation of that gambit, and I'm going to show you others and other types of gambits, but I want you to understand this only works if this happens in this order of and sequence of moves, and hopefully it works for you in this way, and he takes it and he falls for the trap. Okay, a trap cannot work unless someone falls for it. You have to get them to fall for it, and that's part of the psychology of chess. And just, chess experience and seasoning. So, guys, I hope you like that very much. I'm going to be posting a lot more videos on chess traps, chess opening traps and tricks. It's really cool. A lot of this is considered like the fireworks of chess. But please don't mistake this for, understanding opening chess principles and foundational aspects of learning how to play chess, because a lot of this you're violating some principles in order to pull off a trap, right? So understand that. Learn the foundations first, that I also have videos on, and then you can try to execute some of these cool little traps and fool somebody like a magician with a card trick. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, guys. I am at chess.salcedo27. I'm also on Instagram under chess_Salcedo. This is Tony Tone. I am out. Peace.